jump into some new committees, why?
Hurry up.
Want to go down to new business really quick? All right, we'll call to order and have roll call.
Poe,
Yes.
Wardrop,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
Murrow,
Yes.
Loman.
Yes.
Okay,
Item 3, your minutes are attached in your packet there, the second page of our last meeting that should have been in December.
I'll make a motion to accept them.
I'll second it.
Motion and second, vote.
Murrow,
Yes.
Wardrop,
Yes.
Poe.
Yep.
Slater.
Yep.
Loman.
Yes.
Item 4 is approval of financials to date. In the packet will be page 3, 4, and 5. 3 and 4 are just balance sheets, and then the large spreadsheet is just budget comparisons showing, kind of a historical over the last 4 or 5 years, and then the last column is the proposed budget versus this fiscal year's actual budget.
And I know Tyler just sent out, some pledge notices this week, so we'll have some more coming in.
It's like the donations were up.
We've worked in some financing mechanisms too, but yes, we have been. Which is good. It means we're doing what we're supposed to.
And we're sending out notifications for this year's pledges.
They're all kind of, set at different times of year, whatever works best for them, and so we have to send them out monthly for whoever. And I guess, I don't know how many of you know Tyler. This is Tyler Van Vickle. He is the one that we hired to work with us and with Freedom West. So he works for KDEC as well. And Dr. Loman, Kyle Murrow, Alan Poe, Dora Wardrop, and Slater.
And Tyler's the partnership that we did a year ago now, Tyler?
Pretty close.
About a year, yeah,
It
July.
was July, yeah.
I move to accept financials. Second that.
Vote.
Loman,
Yes.
Poe,
Yep.
Wardrop,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
Murrow.
Yes.
Item 5 is our update, discussion, and action, possible action on the status of goals and objectives and staff activities. So I'll turn this over to Sonia.
Well, I leave that in your minutes, so you see what we're working on. On infrastructure, we are working on putting a siding out at Abard. We're also working with, on the rural development, we're on the rural water plan, and the downtown revitalization. We may have come up with a possibility for some funding there for people to come in to help get money to redo their storefronts and stuff. Tourism, there was and I don't have one with me, one of the Oklahoma Today magazine. Did you get one? In our turkey hunt, we included a complimentary copy of I think it was April's Oklahoma Today magazine that did the piece on Alva, and earmarked it so they could refer to that or whatever. So I think Kay was very instrumental in getting that done. But bring that in here, because if you haven't seen it, they did a really good job.
Is that the picture with K, it was that the article with K in it?
Mhm.
And then I saw that, and
It
I saw
was
it in
very
Oklahoma
good.
City, in fact. And someone said, hey, I was in there,
Yeah.
saw it. Yeah.
And there are
Good.
some, we have, I don't know if we have any left actually, because all mine went to the turkey hunt members, but
Yeah. That was a good article.
He spent a day and a half with us.
yeah.
Great.
followed
And
us
then
around.
the back page is
Done a good
Alvin
job.
too, so you're welcome to look at this or whatever. There, I think the Graceful Arts has some copies available, and so does the Chamber of Commerce.
Hello, Randy.
Hello there. Sorry about that.
We've only got 2 new committee appointments, so I guess
What?
we're just on item 6.
Okay.
Communication, well, I guess I'll back up on the tourism part. I don't know. Do you and
Yeah, let's go
guys
ahead
wanna
and
go
talk
through
about
that?
It was on the last meeting, remember Sandy had asked about some possibilities on, under tourism at the sand dunes in Winoka, and about how there was a need for possibly tours and getting down the dunes for private citizens and people that came there, that really, the only way they could observe the dunes was via some observation towers, and she had asked questions about, possibilities on tours of the Little Sahara State Park. And so Doyle had done some work, and I'll let him share what he put together, and then I did some calling around and found out a little bit more information and kind of give you an update on what we have found out.
They would really like to have a 5 or 6 person vehicle that would, Sandy felt like that they could ride around over and show people for a charge. In other words, maybe charge them $5 or $10 a head or something, and be able to go out and see more of the dunes than what you're able to off of the observation deck. And the vehicle that I got the price on is a Polaris Ranger. It's a crew cab type thing, and it hauls six people, a driver and 5, and runs about 14,000, but would not guarantee it without trying it to say that it would haul 6 people over the sand dunes. And so he gave a price and the amount they have it equipped and everything, but it would be tested and checked out. But right now, when you get into the liability part, and something that I have no idea about, or what the state would have to approve, or that would come later, but this is basically, to have 2 vehicles, we're looking at over 30,000. And of course you got the employees and somebody to run the business. The state would have to approve insurance and everything. You're looking at a lot of money. And at this time, I don't know how it would work. Sandy knows the people in Winoka, and if we would need to go to the state, we'd have to work on that to see if we can get approval or to do so.
I'm sorry, I was late, the highway,
Yeah.
holds up traffic.
We're just talking about the information, the question that you brought up last meeting about
Yes.
the buggies.
I
And
appreciate that.
Doyle had done some work on what it would, a piece of equipment or a buggy or
Yes.
sorts. I talked to him at the dunes, and that they used to have tours there. What I had
Yes.
discovered is tours existed there, at least in the most recent time, from about 1999 to about 2005. There was a gentleman that was doing tours there, and he basically got out there in about 2005. And his issues was, one, employees and staffing, insurance, maintenance, schedule, and then also just personal liability due to negligence. And so he said during his tenure of operating the tours, that he had been litigated at least twice.
Really?
It never had got to the point, it didn't get past the discovery phase, but he had to go through that at least twice. He said there was opportunity to make some money there, but he said it just wasn't worth the risk of the possible of negligence and the liability of it. And that's why he quit, just because he said overall liability, he said you could make probably, on the very best year, 25 to 30,000, but he said, one, staffing of it, and then I even said if you were able to get a vehicle through a grant or you know, someplace like that where you didn't stand the upfront cost, would you be interested in doing it again? He said, possibly, as long as you could figure out the negligence and the liability side of it. I mean, that was where, because he talked about how to staff it and, you know, just that was even the Dunes approach, that, you know, their number of employees have been cut back significantly over the last 3 or 4 years, where they may be on another activity and have that, and who would, it just was a staffing issue, and then they may not be all, you never knew quite who was gonna have driving that, and then it just, that becomes some of the issues, but that was his approach, and, so that kinda was, I thought, there probably is a need, and there probably is some availability for the private sector to make some money. It just was, nobody has quite figured out how to maintain and manage the liability and the possibility of negligence type. Because he said he was never worried about his driver getting in a bind, it was always worried about,
The Duners.
yes, the other traffic, because there's,
Yeah. Well, what I see as the only real solution is the state to do it.
yeah, and that's
And
what he
that
said.
would be a, pressure put on them, I guess, to take that on, because it would bring in so many people, and it's beautiful out there. But it is also dangerous, but not so much through the week. And a vehicle big enough to haul a class of school kids,
What he told me that they had was, it was an old
Army thing,
seven-passenger,
or-
well,
Oh, okay.
they had a seven-passenger sandrail buggy, I think, is what he said,
Okay.
to tell all the driver plus 6.
Yeah.
And he said it's still around there, it's all in pieces now, but that's what they had at the time,
Okay.
I guess. But, he said, and I do agree, technology's came a long ways from those Polaris vehicles now versus back then, but, that was some of the obstacles
Yeah.
that I discovered.
Well, I envision, an Army surplus, something from Desert Storm, or,
Something like that, yeah.
when I remember Dale Converse's, and a whole school class could go, and of course, there were not the safety requirements nor the traffic in the dunes at that time. But if you bring, say, school kids through the week,
Yeah,
it's not full of,
not near as busy as it is.
no, and it's during the school year, and if they don't come at certain busy weekend, the scheduling is, the safety is not a factor.
And I think that was his whole issue, is just to make $20,000, the personal liability
Yeah,
was just
and
too
I
extreme.
don't see it as anything that anybody is
Yeah.
going to want to do, but I see it as a state.
Yeah, and that was the
Right.
state rangers that I talked to, they, said even during the week, they've got probably 2 of them maybe, and so it just was the state would have to commit to a whole new staffing
Yeah.
position
And we
with
don't
that.
mind, do we?
No, we don't mind, I think we're in favor, yeah.
And why not?
Yeah.
It's just a unique place that deserves to be shared by others rather than the thrill seekers.
Yeah.
I made a couple of trips out to Alabaster Caverns and never got to talk to the right guy, but they have from one opening of the caverns to the lower opening, they have a tractor and a trailer that they pull.
Okay, yes, right.
And there's a possibility that they have that on some kind of an insurance liability,
Sure.
because they did wreck it about 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
They turned over and hurt a couple of people.
Oh, my.
I don't know what's become of that, I don't know if there was any litigation or anything.
Oh.
But if there was no litigation, they probably had the right insurance,
Mhm.
so.
But the state has different kinds of insurance than individuals do. Liability caps.
I think that'd be the
et cetera.
key to the whole thing, is getting the state to do
I
it.
think so, and it's just gonna take our politicking and,
And I don't know if the state, even, because that what I was told is out on the dunes, they don't ever change what Mother Nature created.
Right.
Because if they groom the sand, that's
Yeah.
when they create
yeah,
liability. And so the dunes are as if, however the wind blows them is the
Yeah.
terrain, and
Yeah.
so they don't do any kind of
yeah.
changing, because if they would change the contour, that's when they would create an opportunity for
Yeah.
liability.
Well, if the state took it on, and the people there are familiar with the dunes, they traffic them and all that, and established a route and even marked it, visitor traffic or state vehicle or something, even around the perimeter, or choose a route that is a workable deal, or a place where you can at least see, even if you don't experience all that, I think it could be a really great attraction.
So I don't know that where, Doyle and I just met 2 weeks ago, I
Right.
guess, and we just, after the last time, we wanted to at least come back and do some digging on what we could find, and
Yeah,
in the initial phases, that's the scoop that we've got, so it looks like if the next avenue is past the private sector, it would have to be into probably the tourism, and, state parks would have to kind of take that project on, and so, that would be, when we see our local governing bodies, maybe that would be a question to ask of them.
and that department would be under the governor rather than the legislature, is that right?
Well, they're like, they're trying to incorporate the recreation department in with another department right now.
Right, but those
And
are under the governor,
they are
right?
under the governor. Their budget comes through the legislature.
One step at a time. We'll
That's
see what
right,
happens.
I appreciate your checking into that.
And I don't know, didn't you say it had a contract?
Yeah, there is a business there that does have a contract on the park as far as for vending and those type of things, and so I think if it was a private sector piece right now, it would have to go through that company.
Really, what company is
I
that?
think it's the Little Sahara Sand Sports
Really?
has that for, if it was an off the dunes location, if it was housed in Winoka or someplace and then they was out there,
Mhm.
I think that would be the case, but
Hmm.
if it was on there, and I could be wrong on how all that's structured, but that
Okay.
was my take on it, so.
Our new mayor is very involved with the dunes. And I would expect him to be cooperative with the idea.
Yeah. I didn't speak to him, but anyway, that's what we found out.
Okay.
Item C?
Communication. You shouldn't be getting near as many email blasts as what you were getting in the past. Tyler has taken that over, and he is right now being trained on our website, the visitwoodscounty.com. So, yeah, I think we've cut back and we just send out the pertinent stuff now. You're not getting blasted with everything. And he's working on a layout, or has kind of started working on a layout for a business brochure. So that's being started. The business recruitment and assistance, we had 24 different companies attend our legislative turkey hunt this year. And we're working 3 projects out of it right now. So I think that falls very, very well in that segment. Just for those that care, we had 24 in attendance and 27 birds were shot. So we had a really good, so far we had the most birds out of all of the hosting communities. The weather was a little windy and cruddy on the first 2 days, but last day it was beautiful. And there is another local business that's looking at doing an expansion that we're working with as well. So we're staying busy there. On item 6, we have 3 board members that term out in June. I emailed all of them. All of them jumped up and down and asked if they could stay. That's Doyle Wardrop, Kyle Murrah, and Sandy Olson. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not. They're all eligible to serve another 3 years. So, as long as there is no objection to that. Probably need a motion to approve.
Yeah, can I get a motion to?
So moved.
Very good.
Second.
Second.
Holy cow, I
Do it
can't
quick.
write that fast.
Roll call vote?
Okay, Loman,
Yes.
McMurphy,
Yes.
Poe,
Yes.
Wardrop,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
Murrow, Olson.
Yes.
Wins County Industrial Development Authority. They're working on it. They are working on a few things as well. Darren and I actually just attended a meeting at the Alva Industrial Foundation because we still have a slot to fill there, a seat to fill from Bob Davison retired. And they've made a recommendation, so we'll see at our next meeting. We may have filled that position. Also, they did, Freedom West made a presentation to them for some matching funds to apply for their OFA for building houses in Woods County. It's something that they will turn over and use probably for the next 10 years, and they granted that. They had those funds sitting there, and so they partnered with them to build some houses. So they're getting a few things done. Then on the Northwest Oklahoma Alliance, I don't know how many of you attended. They had their legislative event at the end of March. There was about 250 to 300 attendees. I asked Alex, she's not their, Vicki McCune is their president this year, but Alex was able to provide me with what their focus was. And their website, which they revamped, and if you haven't been to it, it's nwoka.com, and we'll send that out to you. But their focus for this year is the Northwest Water Action Plan. It's right now, it's in their editing phases, and she said, so that'll be announced to the communities later as it's involved. But she said from this research that they've found many communities need assistance with high nitrate and other water issues, so they're hosting water workshops later this year. So we'll keep you notified of when those are gonna be. And I know they're partnering, working on some workforce and housing. So anyway, I will keep you updated as their activities are progressing. But they really did have a very good turnout for their legislative event.
Very good. Does anybody have any new business?
I might report that the a tenant at our Roundhouse property has moved. It was all related, energy-related business, and so there's a vacancy there.
At which property, Sandy?
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, the old CDR property?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And also BNSF is building a building near there. So that's the first construction that they've done in a long time. And also our depot project has to be rebid. You know, it's the depot's on the National Register, and so the federal people have a lot of say about what happens there. And I think it had to do maybe with the wall treatment, something that we have to
How big a
rebid.
project was that, Sandy?
500,000. So if you know any bonded general contractors that would like to bid on that, that would be great.
When's that gonna occur?
Oh, I've forgotten the schedule.
If you send it to me, and I'll send it.
Roy Easley is the architect, so he would be able to advise anybody on that, but it will, we had several bidders at the last bid opening, only one was within our budget. So that's my report.
I noticed on the last minute, you all had talked about the radio impact study. Our business program is going to do that. It was not this spring, I'd ask about it this spring. They will do that next fall for us,
Good, good.
Good.
right?
They're looking at like the impact of the rodeo, the organization itself, or
The
like a-
organization.
Okay.
So, is that what you want?
Yes.
Okay,
Right.
not just the rodeo.
Yes.
Gotcha, okay.
They take on their projects?
Yes. I do that.
You know, we have a couple of classes that do that, and they have various projects that they'll take on for a semester, involve the whole class, so it'll fall under one of our two classes.
Very good.
There's not a street you drive down, there's not 3 or 4 horse trailers and big dual wheel pickups, they're everywhere.
Quite a few of them.
At service stations, car washes, and everywhere.
That girls' rodeo team's doing really well.
Really
Both of them do.
Good, good. Anything else? Announcements? Anybody else got any announcements? That leads us at item 11, if we don't do anything else.
I'll make it.
All right. Is there a second?
Second,
Murphy,
Yes.
Logan,
yes.
Poe.
Yep.
Wardrop.
Yes.
Slater.
Yep.
Morrow.
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.